everyone. How is everyone today? We are racing through May. We are almost at the midway point. Quite a few things to get through today. Let me just do some twiddling in the background and then we will get to it. Just need to get something in the back, just one sec. How is everyone doing this lovely Monday? Did we all have a great weekend? What did we do? What did we get up to? My American friends, don't you have the primaries? I feel like it's always election time in America. I feel like my entire life it's been election time in America. But I believe that some of you have the primaries. Is that it? If you need to vote, make sure you go out and vote. Even in the United Kingdom, there has been some voting going on as well. Unfortunately, I think one of the seats in the UK and one of the councils was won by someone who said that what did he say? He said something about Africans need to be melted or something, and used as what did he say now? Wait, hang on a sec. Like, this is what's going on in the UK. There's a whole agenda to MAGA the UK. Oh yeah, it was a Reform UK candidate. So this was the Nigel Farage right-wing folk who said Nigerians should be melted down to fill potholes. This is what the guy said, and he has won a seat in local elections. Now, if you have been listening to this podcast for some time, sorry to segue into something completely different, but if you have been listening to this podcast for some time, I did warn that the UK would start going in the direction of MAGA, and that you could possibly end up with Nigel Farage as Prime Minister. If not in the next election, possibly the election after. I did say this. And you're now seeing signs of the UK being megafied. So please take note of this. He's also said other arist and misogynistic views. Also homophobic comments as well. About the LGBT community, specifically about lesbians. Very, very disgusting comments, which I will not read out now. He has also said horrible things about female sports commentators. This is who is winning seats now, pushed into the front of politics in the UK. Just a warning. Just a warning. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me, but it absolutely disgusts me. And what gets me about people like this is the way that they just go for folks who are just minding their business. It's like you want to go after every minority. You want to go after anyone who doesn't fit within the square that you sit in. Just a warning, folks. Just a warning. Okay, let's go on to the royal news. But this is just another reminder also to make sure to vote for the right people. And people that are going to defend your rights, defend the rights of minority communities. Right. Let's start with... because there's actually a lot to get through. We've got Meghan on the screen today. We've got Kate on the screen today. We've got Camilla and Andrew. Oh, let me also just say, I'm actually I wanted to put a proper slide up today, but I just didn't get a moment. But I want to say thank you so much to Alice W. I won't say your full name here because I don't know if you want your full name said out loud on the podcast, but Alex W, who contributed to the finishing touches of my candle line. You said, "I love you, Duchess of Success. I love your channel, and it always makes my day when you post a new video. Usually I can't watch live. I appreciate that you watch on replay. You said, this is my small way of saying thank you for the work that you put into videos. And of course, I want to support your new business efforts. Thank you for making a positive comment on my packaging and the look. And also your feedback about scents. I really, really do appreciate that. And thank you so much, Alice. Thank you also to Jay Patterson for your contribution. To Jennifer C for your contribution in PayPal, and also to Stephen Black for your 2 contributions as well. That is going to go such a long, long way. I think in the next podcast, I will actually put your names on the screens. And so I think we're already like, I don't know, like a quarter maybe to getting my target. So thank you so much to everybody who has contributed. It's going to help so, so much. I appreciate you all. And I'll make sure to do a proper shout out on the community tab and in the next podcast. But appreciate everyone. And I am planning on trying to get everyone who did donate a candle of your choice. If we get to the final stage and actually do get investment, and hantavirus doesn't turn into coronavirus again, oh gosh. Please no. Please no. We do not need another pandemic. All right, let's get on to the show. Let's start with... Should we start with Andrew? Should we start with this idiot? Now, I personally believe that there's an agenda behind this whole Andrew being attacked by a masked person, whatever. Let me just find the article. I personally feel like this is an agenda. Where is it now? Where is my... Oh gosh, I gotta find it. I've got to find it. Where is it now? Apparently he was accosted. Oh yeah, here we go. Accosted by a ski mask clad man in Norfolk. Apparently people just walk around in ski masks in Norfolk. So I've never been super conspiratorial about these royal security scares. I think even the most conventionally timed security issues are probably real, in the sense that it must be pretty easy for random people to scale a fence or wander through a massive royal property. I mean, if it is easy, then security can't be that great. Because even with these big estates, surely they would have CCTV, people watching from different angles. Like, you shouldn't really be able to just scale a royal estate. Be having hostage situations all the time. You ever watch the episode of Black Mirror, the first one? It's literally called The National Anthem. And it's literally a royal gets taken as a hostage. If you haven't watched that episode of Black Mirror, watch it. Anyway, but yeah, this current situation is going to turn me into a conspiracist. It seems a balaclava-clad man threatened Prince Andrew in Norfolk on Tuesday. Now, remember that time when someone got into, I think it was Windsor. This is back when the Queen was alive. Somebody got into Windsor and they had a crossbow and they were trying to scale the castle to get to the Queen, real medieval style. And I remember at that time, people were very suspicious because the timing was just interesting. And it's like with these things, it's like the timing is always interesting. A balaclava-clad man, a man with a crossbow going after the Queen, interesting. Anyway, the same Andrew who lied for years about his relationship with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, the same Prince Andrew who was arrested in February and is still being investigated for espionage, bribery and trafficking, the very same man. What a conveniently timed poor Andrew needs royal protection story. Exactly. Just interesting and conveniently timed. Side note, for Americans, a balaclava is just a ski mask. I keep thinking they're saying a balaclava wielding man, and I'm like, why is a tasty Greek pastry such a threat to royalty? But that's not what they're saying. Yes, a balaclava clad person is a person wearing like a ski mask, so they can't be seen. So apparently this balaclava clad man was arrested. Now remember with the incident with the crossbow, the guy was apparently arrested, and I don't think we ever saw a picture of the guy or what he looked like. Somebody who threatened the whole royal at Windsor Castle, and I don't think we ever saw him. I don't remember what happened. Was he charged? Was there a follow-up? Did they strike him off as mentally ill? I don't even know what happened to that. And I bet the same thing's going to happen with this. We're not even going to learn who this so-called balaclava-clad man is, assuming it's a man. The Telegraph can reveal the incident occurred around 7:30 on Tuesday near the Sarandon estate in Norfolk while the former prince was out walking his dogs. The Telegraph understands the man had been sitting in his car when he saw Mr. Mountbatten Windsor about 50 yards away. The man stepped out of the vehicle and made his way towards Mountbatten Windsor. It is not clear whether he had been waiting for him. The man was allegedly shouting and acting in an intimidating way. It is believed a crowbar was recovered from the vehicle. Oh, they wanted to beat Andrew down. Just what he deserves. So Andrew, who was accompanied by a member of his private security detail, rushed towards his own car parked nearby and drove away at speed as the suspect allegedly tried to sprint after him. Oh, it was a whole Batman and Robin movie, huh? There was really some action going on down at Windsor. The palace understands the incident took place on public land in a land close to the Sarandon Royal Park. Norfolk Constabulary was alerted and officers attended the scene where they arrested a suspect and took him in for questioning. A spokesperson for the force said officers were called to Northallerton shortly after 7:30 on Wednesday following a report a man was behaving in an intimidating manner. I mean, what has Andrew done other than behave in an intimidating manner for the last decade? And we didn't get an arrest until late last year. Well, earlier this year, should I say. Officers attended and the man was arrested on suspicion of a public order offense and possession of an offensive weapon. Oh, when they want to arrest someone, they will. When they want to arrest the average man, they will. When you're hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, they won't. There have been concerns he could be exposed to more security threats since moving to the rural location. This is why I believe that this is a conspiracy. Because this is to create a story to make you, the public, believe, oh, Andrew's under threat, so we need to move him. If he's under threat, then he's under threat. What, you want sympathy from me, Joe Public? That's what this is for. They actually want you to feel sympathy for this loser. Oh, poor Prince Andrew. He might be under threat. He might be under threat and somebody might get close to him and somebody might do something to him. Okay. Okay. You want me to feel what about that exactly? It goes on to say, this shows why Andrew's security provisions need to be proportionate and properly balanced for an individual with very high profile. You're not going to sit there and tell me that when you still will not give Harry security, you will not even allow Harry to pay for his own private security because he cannot get armed security while in the UK. You won't even allow him to pay for the security himself, which he wants to do. Since some people keep blabbing on about he shouldn't be taxpayer funded. He wants to pay for his own security and you won't allow him to do that. Because you can't actually have a royal making their own money and using their own money. That will then shatter the whole narrative that royals should be allowed to use taxpayer money. So they keep that security away from Harry. I mean, it sounds like this guy may have been just lying there and waiting to shout at Andrew. No one's actually saying that this guy actually threatened Andrew with the crowbar. They're just saying that he was found with a crowbar. I mean, what was the guy shouting at Andrew? Was he shouting, "You ugly nonce"? And that is a hell of a leap from some guy shouts at Andrew to Andrew needs full taxpayer funded protection. And notice how fast they are playing with who pays for the private security. Andrew still has as well, and they're trying to claim two things at once: that Charles removed Andrew's private security in 2024, and that Andrew's private security in 2024, and that Andrews still has a full privately paid security team who comes and picks him up at the police station after his arrest and protects him from from citizens wielding crowbars. My theory is that Charles never removed Andrew's private security, quite frankly, and that Andrew still has some form of royal protection, given his association with Epstein, and probably more like a support team aiding private security. And that they're lying about it. Because then people will start to ask, well, what about Harry, who actually needs the security, as does Meghan. Hi, if you're just joining us, hello Ambernet, hey Connie Barmer, hey Gwen, hey Gabby, hey Elfaz, hey Faith. If you're just joining us, thank you so much. Anyway, like I said, I think this is all just to create a narrative that Andrew needs security. Andrew can be very, very secure if he's just locked up in a cell. That'll be the most secure he's ever been. That'll also be the most secure women, girls, and toddlers have ever been, with Andrew locked up. That's what he needs to be, locked up. Ugh, gross. Absolutely gross people. Gross people. Right, speaking of gross people, let's talk about Camilla. Camilla decided to go and visit her best friend, the horses. The only thing Camilla loves more than herself is horses. And apparently she was accompanied there by her ex-husband. This is one of the weirdo things about these Aristo sets. Nothing wrong with keeping it friendly with your exes, but they're just way too friendly with their exes and their friends, their so-called special friends. Remember, Prince Philip had a special friend, Penny? They all had these so-called special friends. Camilla's wearing jeans, by the way. Very unusual. She's mostly in her loose house dresses, which are something of a uniform for her. But Camilla decided to wear a dark pantsuit on Friday for a surprise appearance at the Ebony Horse Club. I mean, wear whatever makes you comfortable, but her curtain dresses, that's her signature, and she actually looks a lot better in them. She looks so different in this pantsuit. Like yeah. It's not Camilla's usual look. Mind you, Betty, Elizabeth II, Harry's granny, always said that women should wear skirts and dresses. It was a royal rule that I guess ended somewhere around 2017 when Meghan started wearing trousers and then Kate started copying her. Anyway, Camilla is apparently president of this club and she wanted to watch the events, and her ex-husband was also in attendance. She encountered her former husband, Andrew Parker Bowles. She spent time with volunteers, young people from different organisations in South London, which offers lessons, workshops, and support programs for disadvantaged youngsters. Okay, doing something decent. Camilla and her husband were married in 1973. Ooh, and shared 2 children, Tom and Laura. and their marriage ended after 22 years. That's actually a long time. I didn't know they were married that long. And I just know that Mr. Parker Bowles was fighting for his life, fighting for his life, not to get um kicked out of the estate by Charles. And Camilla was just buying her time. She said, "I'm a divorce this man and get me my future king and be the grandest side chick of all time." Um. Also, isn't Camilla's ex-husband also Anne's former lover? Um, I believe she is. Anyway, Camilla had a good time with her horses, and that's the most important thing. Like, she's actually smiling for once, y'all. You ain't never seen Camilla smiling so much unless she's with her horses. Don't see her smiling this much with Charles. I think they all have affairs because of boredom. Likely. Shirley, Charles financially supports their children. I think it was always planned that way. Camilla's been sneaking. She's been sneaking. Made sure to get money for her kids. Made sure to siphon enough money to get her a house from Charles, a nice little cottage for herself. And that's always been the aim. And Charles couldn't see it. Not to make Charles a victim, because he's very much a willing participant in all the side chickery. He enabled the side chickery with his adulterous affair, or affairs, plural. But I think even he doesn't see that on Camilla's part, it was a long game. And I do believe that Camilla's relatives, even her ex-husband, have been part of this long game. Because ultimately, these people just care about power and position. Yeah, there's that. Next thing. Yes, Meghan and Suits. Now we are going to see Meghan in a very short appearance. I remember there was something they were filming a couple of months ago, and she was seen on set. You know, she is producing things with Harry. Nothing to say that she will go back to acting in any full-time capacity. I don't think she will. I think if she does take on any roles, more things here and there. Granted, you never really know, but it's something that people have talked about. Now, the producers of Suits want to make a movie, and they want to cast Meghan. Of course they do. I mean, Meghan was very popular on the show with its first run, and she's hugely responsible for why it became so popular again. Because people wanted to see, okay, what's the fuss about? What parts did Meghan play? You know, how did Meghan play her role before we knew her as a Duchess? So Meghan single-handedly made the show even more popular than it was after its first run. Now, last month, there was a rare positive story about Meghan in Page 6, which is usually a hater, but their so-called sources claimed that casting agents and producers all want to hire Meghan. Oh, of course they do. I mean, that's pretty obvious. It's just being inundated with acting offers. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. She is the WME. She is in high demand. People would want to see her. And she did also film a small role last fall. Now, there are claims that the producers of Suits want to film, you know, a Suits movie, and they want to hire her. I mean, of course they'd want to hire her. I mean, it depends. How much are they offering? I'm not taking less than 10 mil. 10 miller. 10 miller. 10 a milli, nothing less. I mean, it's crazy how, 2023 Suits became one of the most watched shows in streaming. A spin-off was greenlit, and I mean, I don't want to say that it bombed. Maybe not. It didn't do as well as maybe they thought it would, but it did okay. And they're still trying to chase that high. But people did enjoy it. The OG Suits and the cast and their chemistry. And I could see Netflix greenlighting a Suits film and persuading many of the original cast to come back. And possibly Meghan. Like, I don't actually think it's that far fetched. I think you're definitely, you're rubbing the genie bottle, but I don't think it's that far fetched. If it's just for a film and not for whole seasons, and she's not on set for months on end, I could see that, honestly. For the right amount, and they would pay. We'll see. It's a possibility. Alpha, as you said, is it maybe what the upper class aristocrats royals do? Get married to their heirs and look good on paper, and they have a bunch of affairs. Pretty much. That's literally what they do. Literally what they do. Gwen, you said, I don't think Meghan would go back to acting because she's doing what she loves with Harry and she has a beautiful kids. Well, she did shoot a small role. She shot a cameo recently. We know that she did this. So I don't think that she would go back to filming like TV series because that would be a lot of daily filming. But small roles here and there, small appearances, less than a day or two of shooting at a time. I don't think that's too far fetched. I mean, she shot a whole TV series multiple times for With Love Meghan. So a couple of small roles here and there. Yeah, C-Mac. I think she would be open to the right roles. Even if they're very small cameos and features. And she could pull millions. I mean, in Julia Roberts' heyday, she was pulling 20 to 30 million per movie, I think. There's a really brilliant movie called Wonder, and it's based on a book. And I read the book years ago, and I only saw the movie recently. And the lead role, the role of the mum, is played by Julia Roberts, and I could see Meghan in a role like that, like very smart, family oriented, feel good, but still intelligent movies. That's the type of role I see Meghan in. But I think she could also do like something like big budget sci-fi, fantasy. I think she could do that as well. I'd actually like to see her do something a little bit more out of the box. Meghan in like a Star Wars movie, or Meghan in a Lord of the Rings style movie, or something like that. Why not? Why not? That would be cool. Um, let's see. What else did I want to touch on today? Oh yes, Kate. The Daily Mail. Well, I mean, the Daily Mail does whatever it takes to get clicks, but every so often, they will break ranks and go for the other royals. Now they actually want to do it all the time, but they can't. But every so often we get something like this. Amanda, is it Amanda Platel from the Daily Fail? She wrote a rather scathing article, actually, about Catherine. Um, Hang on a sec. She wrote about about Kate's early years project and how it's always busy work schemes that lack substance. You know, Kate's early years stuff is essentially designed to do two things: give Kate an excuse to use children as props in her photo ops, and to convince people that Kate is a credible expert on something and that she's super busy on her childhood development studies. Well, Daily Mail columnist Amanda Platel is calling out Kate. She writes in a rather scathing article, "Welcome back, Kate. Nothing cheers a British soul more than the sight of our Princess Wales out and about after her cancer treatment. This week, Kate attended a Centre for Early Years Childhood programme. It was at the University of East London's Institute for the Science of Early Years and Youth. No yawning at the back, please. No doubt Kate is passionate about early learning, but a cynic might raise an eyebrow at a billionaire's wife advising struggling mums to take their children for walks in wild forests. If William was actually a billionaire, would he be selling off farmland? This week, I asked everyone I met, neighbours, friends, journalists, MPs, my hairdresser, even strangers, what they knew of Kate's early learning initiative. The resounding response was, I've never heard of it. Please tell this to Kate's Deranger fans who swear otherwise. For years on this podcast, I have said a lot of so-called Kate and William fans and royalists only became so to hate on Harry and Meghan. They're not actually royalists or Kate and William fans. They're Harry and Meghan haters who joined the hate train. And they don't have a single clue what their so-called faves are doing. Not a single clue. The resounding response, I have never heard of it. I have never heard of Kate's early years learning initiative, which is incredible because this is a so-called journalist for the Daily Fail. The Daily Fail cover all of this royal stuff, as do BBC, ITV, all of them. You literally have a whole part of the press pack, these royal rota rats, the Camilla Tominis, to cover this, and still nobody's heard of it. And it's especially the more right-leaning press, Daily Fail, Telegraph, The Times, the people in Amanda's circle. Kate needs to face an uncomfortable truth. No one cares about her oh-so-worthy programme. During the cost of living crisis, life for many is not about hugging trees, but about finding the nearest food bank. Never have truer words been spoken. The only problem is that the likes of Amanda Platel in the Daily Fail weren't speaking these words during the coronation, when we were trying to ask the question why we're spending that much on a coronation, while we have more food banks than McDonald's outlets. Yes, there are more food banks now in the UK than there are McDonald's. We're all glad Kate is back. But ahead of her first solo foreign visit to Italy next week, we have to say, if you're well enough to step out, Kate, surely now is the time to step up and champion causes that mean something to British hearts. Kate is 44. While Princess Diana was 25, she transformed the world's perception of HIV by shaking hands with a man suffering from AIDS in 1987. Diana's later landmine campaign saved hundreds of lives. I mean, it's easy for Amanda Platel to say this now, but, you know, at the time when Diana did what she did, it was groundbreaking, but there was also a lot of judgment. Judgment from, actually, it would have been the likes of Amanda Platel. Judgment from the institution. judgment from people involved in weapons and arms deals. Remember, at that time, Tony Blair was prime minister. Tony Blair, knees deep in profiting off of war. And I think for Diana, a lot of her activism came from feeling like the outsider. It came from wanting deeply to connect with the common person in a way, and I think a huge part of that came because of the way that the institution rejected her and treated her. And I think the way even the whole set, that whole crowd, um I think she probably felt very mismatched, even though that's the class that she was born into. Whereas with Kate, she's a working class girl, or upper working class, middle class girl, who wanted to be in the aristo set. So there's nothing in Kate's character that would nurture a want or need to be closer to the common man and woman, to stand up to the common man and woman, to want to be an advocate for the common man and woman. She wanted to actually be as far away from the common man and woman as possible. That's why she chased William for 10 years. So even just from where they're coming from as people, you cannot expect that somebody like Kate would ever be anything close to Diana. Kate was never gonna be any kind of Diana figure. Quite frankly, there's no point in even comparing the two. Now, at the very least, you would maybe expect that Kate would have done a little bit more at this point to at least try and do something impactful, especially because she's had so much time. She's been married in the royal family for so long, but that was never Kate's plan in the first place. Even the Queen had issues with the way that Kate worked. So, the Amanda Platels can say what they want to say now, but to be honest, even they have coddled Kate for so long. The institution has coddled Kate for so long. And it was very, very clear from the very beginning, Kate wanted to be the traditional princess that just looked pretty and had cute hair. But modern life is not accepting of traditional princesses. And this is the problem. And then in came Meghan and changed the whole game. So Amanda's article ends by saying Kate could learn a thing or two from her dear departed mother-in-law about how to connect with the British people. After she so bravely came through her cancer ordeal, couldn't she now champion charity supporting women fighting that terrible disease, bringing her experience to bear? Kate, it's time to become the life-changing future queen you were born to be. That last paragraph right there, I don't care what anybody says, that was some shade. That was some shade right there. That's all I'm going to say about that last paragraph. That was some shade right there. It is interesting that Kate has not done advocacy for that space. It's interesting. Yeah, Diana was treated like an outsider, not only in her marriage, but with the royal family and that whole aristo set. So would it not be a better use of everyone's time and effort for Kate to just sign up as a royal patron and fundraiser for several charities? I mean, it would be, but people would actually have to want to donate. People would actually have to want to donate. And quite frankly, at this point, you're asking, why doesn't the royal family give some of its own money? You're asking poorer people to fundraise. Why doesn't the royal family just give their own money? In the end, really, what's been exposed is that Kate just wanted her own thing because she wanted to compete with you-know-who. The you-know-who she's always copying. Her sister-in-law. That was actually the origins, by the way, of all of this early years crap. Because Meghan came in and did 55 billion engagements and projects. Within the short time she was in the royal family, a working royal, sorry, she's still in the royal family. Within the short time she was a working royal. And this is where from nowhere now, early years and all of this stuff starts popping up. She couldn't stand that another woman was engaged and doing substance-driven projects. And 7 years later, that is still Kate's goal. 7 whole years later. What can we say? When she chased pegging William, got him, now he don't know, now he don't want her, now she's miserable. She thought she was going to have Harry around to lean on. Dorothy, you said personality is not in Kate's DNA. Well, typically, the personality of a royal, certainly future queen, was to be personality-less, emotionless. One of the things that made the late Queen, Elizabeth II, so popular, one of the things that created this mythology around her is because you really did not know who she was. You could project anything onto her. Never complain, never explain. Other than a little witty one-liner here and there, you didn't really know who the Queen was. So you got people out there who really, really held on to this idea that the Queen was like their grandmother. Forget the actual politics of her existence. You had mere mortals believing that this woman was their grandmother. So Kate was never really expected to have a personality. That's the thing. She did exactly as she was meant to do, as the role called for. Stockings and all, coat dresses and all. The problem is that the institution completely forgot that we're going into the modern age. So Kate was perfect for her role 2 decades before she stepped into the role. She and the institution was not smart enough to make the changes when the changes needed to be made. And here we are. They didn't make them fast enough. And even when Meghan came in and the game changed, they still weren't smart enough to go, do you know what? This is what people are resonating with. But instead of looking at Meghan and going, you know what, can you help us? Can you help, glam things up a bit? Make things more interesting and impactful? Nope, they went on a whole smear campaign to destroy Meghan. And in the end, they're just destroying themselves while trying to copy Meghan and her substance. You can't fake substance. You can't steal it. You can't wear it like a copycat costume. You just can't. I mean, even here, she's gone to meet with some kids and, their families, and she's wearing a whole suit. Like, you wouldn't wear something just a little bit more Like what the lady is wearing with the black trousers and the top, something like that. Oh yeah, and she stole the early years concept from her sister Pippa of the of the imaginary bum. You lot still haven't let that go, have you? And to be honest with you, I can't blame you because you can't forget, can you? Pippa's bum. That's the headline they went with the next day after the wedding. The British tabloids are really something. Anywho, I think we're gonna end things there. Thank you so much, folks. I appreciate you so much. You are the bestest. Right, let's see if there's any comments before we wrap things up. Yeah, Gwen, the other royals can't stand anyone outshining them. The thing is, you're meant to be a family, so isn't this meant to be a team sport? Isn't roiling meant to be a team sport? Keep the whole team winning? They would rather destroy other family members, and now they're all losing. And the ones that they try to destroy are winning. It is what it is. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. I will see you tomorrow. Ciao.